Opening shot, a black void fills the screen, then slowly cracks with violet light, revealing the spires of Kamara, the labyrinthine nightmare capital of the Dark Eldar. The camera glides through razor-sharp towers and impossible bridges, suspended in eternal shadow, lit only by sickly green flames and the glow of tortured souls bound in crystalline cages. Cut to a cloaked figure walking down a blood-slick alley where slaves hang in chains, their screams muffled by the weight of countless others echoing in the distance. The narrator's voice begins, cold and steady. The Dark Eldar do not live as mortals do. They exist as parasites of agony, surviving only by feeding on suffering. Scene transition, the screen bursts with motion as a Dark Eldar raid begins. Sleek raiders glide through webway portals, warriors descending in a storm of hooks and splinters. Bolter fire is exchanged, but the Dark Eldar move like shadows, capturing rather than killing, binding their victims in barbed nets. Cut to slow motion, a homunculus steps forward, his twisted body stitched with alien augmentations, his many hands working cruel instruments. Victims are dragged screaming into his lair, their bodies reshaped into grotesque living art. Close-up shot of his grin as the narrator whispers, "For the Dark Eldar, death is mercy. They crave the prolonged taste of torment." Next sequence, gladiatorial arenas filled with roaring crowds. The camera sweeps across spiked stands where Dark Eldar nobles recline, their pale faces expressionless as warriors and captured beasts tear each other apart below. Blood arcs into the air, catching the dim green firelight as the crowd erupts in ecstasy. Final scene, the camera pulls back through Kamara, showing its vast size, endless layers of cruelty, and the eternal darkness beyond. The narrator's final words land heavy. This is not life. It is survival through damnation. The Dark Eldar live twisted lives, sustained only by the endless suffering they inflict. In Warhammer 40K, Shadows of a Dying Empire. To understand the Dark Eldar, one must return to the fall of the Eldari. Millennia ago, the Eldari ruled the galaxy with a mastery unmatched by any other species. Their empire stretched across countless stars, their arts perfected, their sciences limitless, their power almost divine. Yet beneath their brilliance festered decadence. Freed from the burdens of war and scarcity, they turned inward, seeking ever greater extremes of sensation. At first it was harmless indulgence, art, feasts, pleasure. But over the centuries, their empire transformed into something monstrous. Cities became dens of excess, where cruelty was not condemned, but celebrated. Murder became performance, torture an art, depravity a festival. Their souls grew bloated with indulgence, and reality itself bent beneath their psychic weight. The end came with a scream that tore through the stars. From the psychic rot of Eldari corruption was born a god, Slaanesh, the Prince of Excess. Its birth cry was a tidal wave of death. Entire star systems burned. Trillions of Eldari souls were consumed in an instant, their essence devoured by the newborn god. The heart of their empire collapsed into a wound in reality, the Eye of Terror. Yet some survived. Among them were those who had retreated deep into the labyrinthine tunnels of the webway. Here, beyond the reach of real space, the most depraved of the Eldari carved out a refuge. They were not innocent. They were not pure. They were the architects of excess, the very kind whose indulgences had birthed Slaanesh. And so, unlike their craft-world cousins who fled to exile and sorrow, these survivors embraced their damnation. They became the Drukhari, the Dark Eldar. The curse of she who thirst for the Dark Eldar, survival is no longer natural. Their souls are forever hunted. Slaanesh waits with an open maw, draining them even as they live. Every day is a slow consumption, a hollowing out. To feel nothing is to slip closer to oblivion. To die without power is to be swallowed whole, erased utterly in the eternal torment of the great enemy. But the Dark Eldar found a way to resist, through suffering, not their own, but that of others. When they cause pain, when they inflict terror, when they drink in the agony of another, the drain of Slaanesh slows. To torture is to breathe. To kill is to eat. To enslave is to drink. This is not metaphor. It is literal survival. Thus, cruelty is not merely a pastime. It is sustenance. It is the very foundation of their existence. Without it, they would wither into husks, their souls drained until nothing remained. In every scream, in every flayed nerve, in every shattered body, the Dark Eldar drink the essence that sustains them. The Black City of Kamara is the heart of the Dark Eldar. Hidden deep within the webway, it is a metropolis beyond comprehension. Towers rise like jagged fangs into a black void. Spires stretch so far they vanish into shadow. Across its bridges and plazas, rivers of light pour, streams of souls harvested and bound. Its streets are alive with cruelty, slaves carried in chains, merchants selling poisons and weapons, cults parading their victims through the crowds. There is no sun, no natural sky. Light comes from burning pyres, from stolen stars caged in crystal, from the glow of pain engines in laboratories. The air is choked with smoke, with screams, with the iron stench of blood. Kamara is not one city, but an endless labyrinth of subrealms, each controlled by cabals, witch cults, or homunculi covens. Alliances shift, betrayals are constant, and every faction vies for dominance. It is a city that feeds upon itself, sustained by perpetual cruelty and conquest. And yet, for all its horror, Kamara thrives. It has endured for millennia. It is the greatest den of depravity in the galaxy, and the Dark Eldar would have it no other way. Shadows of a dying empire. To understand the Dark Eldar, one must return to the fall of the Eldari. Millennia ago, the Eldari ruled the galaxy with a mastery unmatched by any other species. Their empire stretched across countless stars, their arts perfected, their sciences limitless, their power almost divine. Yet beneath their brilliance festered decadence. Freed from the burdens of war and scarcity, they turned inward, seeking ever greater extremes of sensation. At first it was harmless indulgence, art, feasts, pleasure. But over the centuries their empire transformed into something monstrous. Cities became dens of excess, where cruelty was not condemned but celebrated. Murder became performance, torture an art, depravity a festival. Their souls grew bloated with indulgence, and reality itself bent beneath their psychic weight. The end came with a scream that tore through the stars. From the psychic rot of Eldari corruption was born a god, Slaanesh, the prince of excess. Its birth cry was a tidal wave of death. Entire star systems burned. Trillions of